Hi everyone, I'm Gege and welcome to Be Colorful. Today we start using the Tonic Craft Kit number 50. I skipped a couple of kits because I just didn't have time and I'm really late now. So I decided to go straight to this kit. Maybe I can catch up with the monthly releases, maybe. Surely in the future I will propose you some project with the kit I have skipped. However, returning to kit 50, as you can see, we find dies to create beautiful paper flowers with the quilling technique. These dies are exclusive to this kit, but on the shop you will find many of this type of dies. I already had these from Sizzix, for example. Today we're gonna see how to create paper flowers with this type of dies, and we're gonna use a lot of mediums to color them, obtaining different results. For the quilling technique we're gonna use this tool, which is included in the Tonic Craft Kit 50, but you can use an awl or turn the paper only with your hand. So now let's start making our own paper flowers. The first coloring technique that I'm gonna show you involves the use of alcohol markers. I'm not very expert in coloring with markers, but the flowers are quite simple. I'm going to show you how I proceed with a very basic coloring. I'm using cardstock that is not suitable for alcohol markers because I don't have a special paper for them. Sooner or later I will buy it. In addition, for quilling, I recommend, if possible, to use cardstock with a weight that is not too high. This is because cardstock that are too thick are more difficult to shape. After I cut the figures, I start coloring. Basically, this can be done in two ways. The first, starting with the darkest color, coloring the darkest part. Switch to the medium color, and finally apply the lighter color in the brightest area of the petal. Then you can repeat these steps both to intensify the colors and to blend them with each other. The other way is to color the whole area with the lighter color. This makes the paper saturated with color, making the shades easier to obtain. Then continuing with the medium color, and finally with the darkest color for the shaded areas. To blend the colors together, I proceed backward again. The medium color, and finally the light one. Next, I'm gonna add details to the petals using a black acrylic paint. With a dotter, I take the color and dab at the base of the petals. Slowly I go up to the center part, creating dots of color. So once the coloring is complete and the paint is dry, it's time to shape the flower using the special tool included in the kit. You have to insert the end into the slot and start rolling the paper on itself, trying to keep it aligned as much as possible. A problem you may encounter is to get overlapping petals. In this way, the final flower will have empty part. quite ugly. You can adopt various solutions that I will show you during the video. The first is to try with the other end of the tool. I used the finer one, so I try with the thicker one, obtaining a much better result. After rolling, I pull the flower upward, being careful not to let go, otherwise the paper spiral will open again. If you notice there is a round flap, the glue must be applied there, and then close the flap inward. I'm going to use hot glue because I find that it's much faster when using the quilling technique. Liquid glue takes a much longer time to dry, and I don't really want to keep the paper until it is completely dry. But be careful because the glue is very hot. Also pay attention to where you place the gun. In addition to have the metal part very hot, a little glue comes out, even without pulling the trigger. Therefore, don't put it on surface that melt or that can be damaged. Back to the flower, to give it a more realistic look, we can model the individual petal, for example, by curving them downward. Another technique that we can use with markers is dot coloring. We can cover the entire surface of the petals with this technique, starting from the darkest color up to the lightest one, or we can color only a part with the dots and the rest normally, as I will do. Again, with the markers and changing the color combination, we can color the entire surface of the petals and then add dot details, both with the markers and with other mediums, such as white acrylic gesso. Together with the markers, we can use colored pens, such as the Sharpies, to add details. I'm adding dots with a yellow Sharpie and drawing a few stripes with a fuchsia Sharpie, as well as with a light coral pink alcohol marker. Other mediums for coloring flowers are ink pad. With a sponge or a blending brush, you get a very nice result, and in my opinion, they are easier to use than alcohol markers. I'm using only one color, but of course you can use any shade you want. I'm going to add a dot with a yellow Sharpie. And a black dot with a black pen. For this flower, I'm gonna use watercolors. You can use normal watercolors or pens like this one with a tank where the color is already diluted inside and with an incorporate tip brush. Ready to go! I'm adding some white drops with acrylic gesso, coloring these stamens with a yellow marker. And after quilling the flower, I'm going to curl the petals. To color our flowers, we can use texture pastes or mousses. I'm going to use the glacier paste included in the kit 50, applying it with a brush. Once dry, I'm going to add some details with a black Nuvo crystal drop. I color the stamens with the green marker included in the kit, and with a light blue marker I'm going to finish the back of the petals. Still using a paste or a mousse, I continue with the glacier paste from the kit. With a flat brush, I'm going to dab only on the base of the petals. For model the flower, this time, instead of curving the petals down, I place the tip of the tool in the center of the petal and lift the side edges, making the paper take on a concave shape. Finally, curve down only the tips. We can also create super sparkly flowers by applying glitter. I spread the glue on the base of the petals and sprinkle the glitter. Once the glue is completely dry, I remove the excesses and I can color the stamens with the dark red marker included in the kit. I'm going to model the petals by pinching the tips with my fingers and forming a crease in the central part. If we don't want to get a messy with the glitter, we can use glitter pastes, obtaining the same effect. Once the glimmer paste is dry, I color the stamens with a glitter marker. You can use them to color the whole flower. Nuvo drops can also be used for coloring, and we'll also get a embossed effect. Also for this flower I'm going to model the petals by pinching the tips with my fingers. As you can see, I closed this flower badly. In fact, there is a empty space. Earlier I suggested you to change the tips of the tool, but now the flowers is already done. So another solution is to cut out one of the petals from the flower and glue it where there is the gap. And let's move on to another medium, the embossing powder. We can emboss the whole flower also using different colors. I will limit myself to embossing only the upper part of the petals. I then apply the clear ink with a double sponge and I sprinkle the embossing powder. On the base, however, I'm going to blend a little blue-gray ink and I'm adding a few dots of black crystal drop. I had already shown you the use of gilding flakes to decorate paper flowers, a truly beautiful effect, so I propose it again. To stick the gilding flakes, we need to use a glue which, once dry, remains sticky. I'm going to use the Nuvo glue pen and dirty the top of the petals. Once dry, I'm going to apply the gilding flakes and I'm gonna remove the excesses with a hard bristle brush. I'm going to color the stamens with the dark blue marker included in the kit, and also at the base of the petals I'm going to blend a little blue-gray ink. Finally, I model the flower. With spray colors, we can create backgrounds on which to die cut the flowers. I'm using the Distress Oxide sprays, but you can use any spray you have at home. I'm going to add some red splashes diluting the red ink included in the kit. I color the stamens with a brown marker. Once the flowers are done, I'm going to create a few more petals to stick on the gaps of the flowers. This is the third solution to make the flowers fuller. Still with the Distress Oxide sprays, I'm going to create another background with a slightly different color combo. This time I'm using watercolor paper. I'm going to add a few splashes here and there with the red ink and die cut the flowers. I color the stamens with a black marker and I add details by creating dots with the black crystal drop and with the white crystal drop. The Distress Oxides are not permanent colors, so they will react with the Nuvo drops. In fact, the white dots will turn yellow-orange. Once everything is nice and dry, I'm going to model the petals and I'm going to create more petals to fill the gaps. Now let's leave the paper to move on to vellum. Vellum flowers are beautiful and delicate, but I don't want to just make a simple vellum flower, so I show you some coloring techniques for this special paper. The first way is to use an ink to create our colored vellum without depriving us of its delicate transparency. Use permanent ink, so no distress inks or pigment inks. Dye inks like archival inks or hybrid ink by Nuvo will be fine. So I spread the color directly with the ink pad and I'm going to clean up the excesses, leaving just a slightly soft color. Furthermore, leaving all that ink could mean an infinite wait for drying, and I'm not sure if it will dry. I also dry with my embossing tool for safety. Don't overheat the vellum, otherwise it will wrinkle. I'm gonna die cut, and here we go. You see the two sides are different. In one the color is more subtle, while in the other face, where I applied the color, it's more bright. Now I'm going to color the stamens with a black marker. Actually, no. I do a heat embossing with black powder. If we scratch the vellum with a tool with a fine point, gently, we leave white traces on the vellum, and this is also a way to color it. One last tip to make the petals arrange well is to apply some glue while you are rolling the paper. If you see that the petal is in a position you like, put a pin of glue. Other mediums suitable for coloring vellum are markers. Again, the side on which you apply the color will remain more vivid, while the other one will be softer. The white details fit perfectly with the vellum. One way to color the vellum white is by heat embossing. With an embossing pen, I'm going to trace the borders of the petals and draw a few stripes at the bottom. This pen is not the best because it leaves a light blue color. It is from a little bundle. At the moment, however, I only have this one, so never mind. We can also color the vellum with colored pencils. You can create beautiful shades, and it is also quite easy because the pencils slide very well on the vellum. We can also opt to create only white details. With white, we can also blend the colors. I am a very beginner with the colored pencil technique, but it is very easy on the vellum, trust me. As we have seen before, we can create backgrounds on which to die cut our flowers. This time I'm gonna use a shimmer powder, a powder that contains pigment of various colors and some mica for a very sparkling and shine effect. I'm going to heat embossing the stamens with yellow powder. The last flower, quick and easy, involves the combination of markers and ink pads. Simply, I'm going to color the petals with a marker that is a very light coral pink. And on the basis of the petals, I'm going to create a shade with dark red ink. I'm using the one included in the kit. And that's all for today. Did you like these techniques? What is your favorite flower? I like this with the shimmer powder and this with the vellum. It came out a bit strange, but I like the effect. Also those created with the Distress Oxide sprays, I think they are perfect for vintage cards. In the next videos I'm gonna propose you some cards to use our paper flowers. Let me know in the comment if you will try any of these techniques and which one. And remember to give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Have fun creating your flowers. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye bye and be colorful.